Hi guys, my name is Joshua, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make my homemade Pico de Gallo. So for making my Pico de Gallo, what we need is some olive oil, some garlic, a red and a yellow onion, some tomato tomatoes, which all this can be purchased at Trader Joe's, and then just some regular on-the-vine tomatoes, as well as some jalapenos, and don't forget a little bit of tequila. So, for the first step in making this homemade pico de gallo, what I like to do is I like to cut up the garlic and the jalapenos into very, very tiny, small pieces. After chopping up, you want to have a consistency of very, very tiny little pieces of garlic and very, very small pieces of jalapeno. And this is a good ratio, usually about 4 garlic cloves to about 2 jalapenos. It gives you the perfect amount of flavoring of a nice, spicy, and tasty added to your pico de gallo. Now, for those of you with an electric stove, what I like to set it on is the almost high setting and go add a lot of olive oil. Because this is going to give you the flavoring that's going to cook the heat out of the jalapenos and the garlic and infuse together to create a very, very added flavor to your pico de gallo that's going to be delicious. So be very generous on the amount of olive oil you use, and then you're going to put the cut up jalapenos and garlic in the olive oil. Would you look at that? Now, what I would do after this is keep it on a high setting until you can start to see that it's starting to boil down a lot, almost to the point of the olive oil is almost look like it's almost gone, and the jalapeno is starting to brown a little bit. And then what I would do is just turn it down to a little medium setting, so that way you're not going to be able to burn those garlic pieces and jalapenos in there. So I'll leave it like the medium setting for probably another 10 more minutes, and we'll come back and check on this. In the meantime, what a good idea is while this is cooking is to start cutting up those onions and tomatoes, which for me is the most difficult part of this because I just hate cutting over and over again. Now, if you're using the same knife to cut the onions and the tomatoes that you use to cut the garlic and the jalapenos, I would very highly recommend washing it off to make sure that there's nothing left on that, because that's going to give you a lot of uncomfortable spiciness in your pico de gallo. The best way I find to cut an onion is to cut both ends off the sides so it looks like that, and then you're going to lay the onion flat as so, and then you're going to go straight down the middle where that nasty core is right here, because this core right there, nobody wants to eat that. So just go right down the middle like that and separate that, and then you're going to want to go in here and just sort of remove that core from the onion because, like I said, that's the nasty thing. Well, I need 2 hands to do this, so go ahead and do that. So now that we have the core removed and the 2 pieces of onion, we're going to go from about right here where we start cutting it into small little squares, which I'll show you, and then we'll also replicate the same with the red onion as well. But as I hear, it looks like the jalapenos and garlic are about almost halfway done on that high heat setting. You see there's still a lot of good amount of oil in there, so I'm just going to keep kind of stirring it around. And as you can see, some of them are starting to, not so much, so we still got a couple more minutes on this. So we'll go back to the onion and start cutting them up some more. So the first step into cutting the onion correctly is you want to start at the end and then just slightly make little curves all the way and cut all the way down, so that way you have this onion separated, but it's not too separated, so that makes it easy to put it back up like that, and then we're to turn it, and then we're going to cut the same way but going this direction to give us nice small little squares. And notice this core is gone, so it's going to help balance out the onion flavor a little bit. That's what the finished end should look like. Small little pieces that can be easily broken apart to give you a nice consistent onion flavor in this pico de gallo. So we'll do the same with the other half of the onion, and then we'll cut up the red onion. And as you can see now, it's been about 6 to 7 minutes. We're starting to get a lot more browning of the garlic inside this jalapeno and garlic mixture right here on the stove. So we want to keep turning it, but now is probably about a good time when you start to notice that some of them stick and they're getting a little darker on some of the edges. We're going to go ahead and turn that heat down to the low half and then go almost about a quarter above low. And we're just going to leave it there for a little bit longer. Next step is to get a nice pico bowl. You want a nice big bowl, preferably with another bowl that could easily fit inside here. And I'll show you why later. But we're going to put all the onions and tomatoes after we cut them up inside this pico bowl, and then we'll add the jalapeno and garlic later. Now that you can start to see the jalapenos and garlic brown a little bit more, where the garlic pieces are starting to become hard, this would be a good time to go ahead and turn down the heat onto a low setting, or about maybe a quarter above the low setting. And this is when you want to add just a splash of the tequila in here. And then step back. A little bit more. Okay. And we're just going to let that absorb all together right now. Gives it a nice little unique flavor. And my rule is usually generally, if we're doing 2 large onions, and this is what it looks like all nice here in the bowl, I'm going to use probably about 3 regular on-the-vine tomatoes, and then 3 of these Trader Joe's Kamado tomatoes. It gives it a nice different kind of texture and flavor. Usually I like to cut the tomatoes vertically like that, so you get these nice little hamburger size pieces. And then we're going to go back over and chop it like that, and then go under like that. So as you cut up your tomatoes, you generally want it to be small and cubed like as so. But, I mean, come on. It's just a tomato. You're cutting it up. It takes a lot to really screw this up. And then so you add it in with your onions. So we're going to cut up a few more of the Kamados, and we're going to mix it all together in the big bowl. Okay, guys, and one of the things that I forgot to mention, and usually this always happens when I'm making this Pico de Gallo, is that you need cilantro. And sometimes I'll be cooking this Pico de Gallo and I'll get done and about to the point I'm at right now, and I realize I didn't buy any cilantro. So it's always key and important to remember you need cilantro for the Pico de Gallo. I'll go to the store many times and I have always forgotten that I needed the cilantro. So we're going to use the rest of the cilantro in this from Trader Joe's. It's going to be probably roughly about, I don't know, roughly a cup cut up. Key things for cilantro, you need to wash it off really good. It also helps bring out the flavors. And then also, you're going to want to cut off these very small ends on this side, but anywhere from this part up, you're going to want to cut up into fine pieces for the pico. So as you finish cutting up the cilantro, you're going to get very, very small, flaky little pieces as so. And we're going to want to put that in our bowl of the tomatoes and onions right here. And now that we've gotten the jalapenos and the garlic all nice and toasted, almost a crunchy-like feeling, and seriously, this jalapeno is going to be, wow. Little spicy, but I'm not dying. You're going to want to add this into our Pico de Gallo right here, which we've already mixed up. Now that I've just emptied out the jalapenos and the garlic into our pico, we're just going to want to move it around as so, making sure we got a lot of good flavors going on in there. Just kind of keep going down and kind of bringing up the bottom where the onions and the tomatoes are. We just want to keep mixing around like that, sort of break up the bigger onion pieces, just make it a little bit more presentable looking. I'm just going to keep mixing it around. And this is what I like to do sometimes. Just add a little bit of that tequila right in here. Maybe just a little splishy splash right there. Now, one thing that I like about my pico that differs a lot from other Pico de Gallos is that I'm not a big fan of salt at all. And I haven't really found a Pico de Gallo out there, or even salsa so much, that doesn't have a lot of salt in it. So, what I use the salt for in this, and which is just going to be a very small packet. This little tiny salt packet that usually you find in pre-made fork and silverware packages, I'm only going to want to use about maybe half of this. And the reason why is that it gives it a nice little flavor, but what I'm about to do next, this pico is not ready to be eaten. It needs to sit. But after adding that salt, I'm now going to get another bowl. After this is nice and mixed, we're going to get the second bowl, and we're going to place it on top right there, and then we are going to press that pico down. Force it all the way down, turn that bowl as much as you can. It might need 2 hands for this. But you want to make sure the pico bowl stays inside there, obviously. But we're going to just keep pressing, and you need compression because with adding that salt, what we're going to do is we're going to extract all the flavors of the onions, the tomatoes, and that salt pulls it right out. But like I said, it was only a half a bag of this small stuff. So, I mean, I'm not going to say whether it's a half a teaspoon or a quarter teaspoon. You just kind of eyeball it. Half a packet, not that hard. So just keep pressing down like this. And then from here, we're going to set it in the refrigerator for probably at least an hour. The longer the better. Overnight, I would cover it, but if we're going to be serving this in about 2 to 3 hours, I would leave it as so. Okay, so now that it's in about an hour, I'm going to take this cinnamon bowl out. Now, I want you to watch. As I take this bowl out, we're going to be able to see all the juices that formed in the bottom of this. Would you look at that? Just take a look at that. Deliciousness right in front of your face there. And as you see, that pico is ready for some eating. Oh my god, yeah, that's good pico. Now my boyfriend's gonna be home in a little bit, and we're gonna have this for dinner. But I hope there's still some left for him. Because this is, like I said, this pico. Oh my god, delicious, and I'm not dying of spice either. Thank you guys. This has been my nutritional video of how to make my homemade Pico De Gallo, and I appreciate you watching. I got some things to do right now.